Yeah, I don't know if I would lay down on my face in the grass with this one, but this is the right setting. Probably on my back. It's worth relaxing to. I will explain why. So glad to be doing this. Hello viewers from the internet, we are talking about Nurture, the second studio album released by Porter Robinson. Been a hot minute since I've released the video, I'm very sorry about that. I have been doing a lot of things in the background, and you can probably see that on the channel. A lot of things have changed. Thumbnails most specifically. But anyway, we are talking about this album, and I thought this is the right way to relaunch ourselves back in because I think I like this album a lot. I'm not so sure what we're really receiving. I'm trying to still make sure that I'm listening to as many genres as possible. And there are some things that I am noticing the more and more that I'm doing these kinds of reviews, that there are things that I kind of lean to more than others. And that's fine. I think everybody else does that. This is something where I realize and recognize in my head that this has elements that I'm definitely on board with, but also it twists a few things in order to make it original. Now, I do think that there are some people who have probably done something similar to whatever Porter Robinson has done in here, and I'm going to try to explain what that is precisely, but for the sake of it, let's also talk about the comparisons that I noticed in here. The artists that I feel like kind of mesh with the style that we are getting in this album remind me slightly of Pogo, whom I'm very fond of. Also, very much strangely, the 1975. Like, if they were doing what they're doing, but they were trying to do more of an EDM style, this would work. The mood of the music reminds me quite a bit of Owl City as well, and that's probably something key there. Style? Yeah, sure, some of it, but I would also say that this is definitely a mood that I could see Owl City being like, you know, I like your style, we should collaborate sometime. Something like that, I guess. This feels like a collision between the electric style also meeting anime stories. Like, maybe not a movie, not something action heavy, but like something more family friendly. Just add the electric element to it and then some anime music. Boom, we've got ourselves a pretty good music sandwich here. Many of the songs make me feel like I am showered with musical shards. Like the mix kind of feels very sharp, and I don't mean in the musical way, like flat and sharp, not like that. I mean like it actually feels like it would cut something. If there was a metaphysical way to be able to show you, it just feels like it would strike down, not necessarily hard with density, but with sharpness. I'm sure that sounds a little confusing to you, but listen to the music, you might get an idea of what I'm trying to go for. Along with the anime thing that I mentioned before, I could see music like this being adapted into a video game just as much. And if there's a world where all those things meet together, yeah, I would like to visit that. Get me one of those world transporter kind of vessels of some kind. Send me there. I'll let you know how that world looks and sounds. Many a times Porter Robinson kind of feels like he's making these scratches or kind of vocal switch-ups on purpose. Nothing in here feels like it's not done on purpose. It's just that, you know, when you first hear it in the album, you'll get used to it throughout, but the first time you hear it in the album, you're going to think, why did the remix happen in that? It's like a VHS fuzziness cutting out. Or if you had a CD that was scratched and you play it, you know those things where it just kind of jumps, like things like that. It kind of feels like that's what is put into this album, but again, on purpose. It's kind of meant to make you feel like there are experimental elements going on in here. And I'm trying to make sure I'm not just using the word creative, because there's a lot of things out there that are creative, but this is slightly more daring. It's trying to do something that's purposely unique in order to see if it works musically. Not only does Porter Robinson use these remixed oriented things, vocally he adjusts, or rather distorts, a lot of the vocals in here. There's very few times in here where the vocals sound normal, and I'm okay with that because of the electric element in here. It sounds like everything is actually coming from a different world. It sounds like maybe a spaceship that had it kind of rough. The speakerphone was playing, and, it was just like, a little fuzzy there. Kind of like that. But despite that, I also have to give him a lot of props for all of the strings and all of the piano that was incorporated into these songs. Okay, now having said that, I'm going to highlight a couple of songs here that would give you an idea of what this album would sound like. The first one would be Look at the Sky. Look at the sky. Strong anime presence and a lot of that Owl City feeling I was mentioning earlier. This is a good way to start it off. Leaning more onto the 1975 vibe that I mentioned earlier is the song Musician. I read somewhere that Porter Robinson said that this is probably his favorite song in here because it made him feel, and I quote, invincible. The last track I would like to highlight is the song Something Comforting. The drop in this has kind of more of a traditional EDM style, but it's not that hard. It's just more traditional. Summarizing this all up, I think this actually portrays a beautiful, beautiful picture when you listen to the whole thing. It is something I knew when I listened to it for the first time. I'm like, this could be something really special. I hope other people can actually embrace what this brings. And I know not everybody probably has the anime relation, so I'm not going to rely on the idea that I'm going to tell you it's so nostalgic, because that's probably not for everybody. But I definitely would say that there is a heartwarming aspect to it that I think that you should give a chance to, because this one just made me think, wow, I can enjoy music again. Like, the burden on my shoulders of trying to find critiques in here was lifted because it did its job. I'm very thankful for that. And in a world where I feel like a lot of people have, anxiety of what's going to happen in the future, this one can probably provide a little bit of comfort or a little bit of encouragement, because it does have some pretty good messages in here, and I think it would just give off the vibe of remembering something slightly more simple. At least it can make you forget about something stressful in your life. I can definitely say this is something I would listen to during that kind of time. So after having listened and reviewed this album, I'm going to give production an A+, creativity an A, expression and lyrics an A, and this album gets... Yes! This is one where I feel like I'm a little bit in the middle. Sometimes I feel like a Yes album is something that's so obvious, it's so amazing. And then there's others where I feel like this might just be me, but I'm still going to give it a yes. This one I feel more like, no. I think it is. I feel like people will recognize it, but if they give it a few more listens, they'll appreciate it and they'll come over to this strong side over here. Because that's where I feel like it is. And I have an impression that the more people who listen to it are going to say, why are not more people talking about this one? I needed this. My life feels so much more elevated because of it. Thank you, Porter. Thank you very much. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to follow me in my social media links down in the description below, and be sure to leave a like for the video as well as a comment down below if you want to engage with me. And remember, if you want to discover, promote, and review the best in entertainment, be sure to subscribe to this channel so you can get that yes in your life. See you next time.